Good morning. Welcome. My name's Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK. And just checking that I'm going right on. I had a sudden mad panic. Am I going right live in the right place? But yes, it does appear that I am. So good morning, Jackie. Welcome on this Monday morning, and usual weather check. The sun is just trying to break through the clouds here. We were forecast a really wet, miserable day yesterday, and actually, apart from a couple of showers, it was beautiful for most of the day. In fact, I was out in the garden and I've caught the sun. So let's hope for a similar sort of day today. We need those showers, but a bit of sunshine in between is also good for our souls. So let's have a bit of both. So here ended the forecast. As I say, I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, and I welcome you in to come and have a bit of a play. And I don't know whether I hardly dare say really. We're going to have a play with the hand-penned suite this morning. It's been in the building for a few weeks and I have not used it. I might have pinched a bit of paper. I don't even know whether I've done that. But so it is long overdue a bit of a play with, I think. So the hand-penned suite, so the entire suite, you get the hand-penned petals stamp set. No, I haven't, look. Pristine, unused, never been kissed by an ink pad. So you get the hand-penned petals, so you get these two sort of outlines, which are fabulous for colouring in, but then you do get the stamps that you can infill with. Some nice sort of scribbly fonts, handwritten type fonts. I have used this one, the Feel Better Friend. I've used that stamp. I remember it well. So that's the stamp set, and then you get these really pretty dies with it. I think I've used a couple of the dies as well. I've had, yeah, these flowers for something. To find a pokey tool because that's got some fresh fuchsia card in the little holes. So you get the outline stamps, outline dies to cut out your stamped images, and then you get these fancy little bits as well. So we'll have a play and see what they all do. So that's the stamps and the die bundle. Then you get this beautiful paper. It is beautiful, which is why I'm really surprised I haven't used it yet. Look at that lovely dot and these lovely florals. Just gorgeous. I have made a couple of quick and easy cards with the Memory and More cards that match this set. Those are really pretty too. Just lovely, sort of pastel-y, floral-y, almost Laura Ashley fabrics. I do love that pink with just the white print in the background. They just really are pretty. Look at that. So lovely floral papers, and then there is the gems. I've not dug those out. Here they are. I've used these a few times. These are the genial gems, and I don't know whether it's going to pick up. They've got like a bit of glitter in them. They're just really so pretty, so sort of delicate sort of colours to them. So let's have a think what we're going to play with. There's some lovely samples in the catalogue, so if you're ever not quite sure what you want to do, you can always come and have a little look. There's a box there that's been covered. Ooh, catching the just lovely, those papers and things. I don't know whether you can see up the top here is sort of like a top tip. They've obviously die cut, saved the bits that have been die cut out of the centre of those big flowers, and then coloured them in. And that's this sample just here, look. So they've just saved those infill bits from the die cut. Yeah, and there is also a Memories and More pack using these same patterns. Got my water on standby this morning, got a thirst on. Okay, so I think what I'm intrigued to know is these dies. So I really haven't played, so you're here to play along with me this morning to investigate what some of these things do. I'm going to take my machine. I think I might have had, so in the in the samples I had in my swaps, I had a couple with this set. It's really pretty, isn't it? So that one is just stamped, and then there's infill dies used on the top, some of that spotty paper. Just really pretty. I think there might be some more. I think it was quite a popular one. I quite like this one in the soft succulent and grey granite. It's rather lovely, isn't it? But again, stamped, but just the square, being square cut, but used on a diamond shape, used with the diamond orientation, and then this bit of stamping in the background. That's a really lovely card. I think those were the two that were using the hand pen suites. I think we're doing okay, thank you, Jane. How are you doing? I'm sure you've played with the hand pen suite. I was just saying to the ladies, it's been in the building quite a while. I've not actually done anything with it yet. So the bits that I'm interested in, these are obviously going to just cut out the stamped images, so we know what they're going to do. I'm intrigued to see what these are going to do. That one is just going to be a shaped leaf, but we'll look anyway. We have some flowers, and then we have this bit here. So let's run those through our machine and have a look at those and see what they look like when they're cut. Hi Beryl, I'm doing okay. I have not been, you know, at my brightest and best for quite some time, but I'm doing all right. Can't complain. Things could be worse. Is that not how we go? Oh, ease that off of there. Right, so let's have a look. So you can see where these little bits in here are popping out. So what they've done in that sample in the catalogue is they've taken these bigger pieces just here and they've coloured them in and then placed them back, glued them back in place. So a nice fiddly little technique, probably not one for a live. You'd be waiting forever for me to fill all those back in, but a nice idea. Alternatively, you could, if you wanted something a bit quicker, run the die through with some coloured cardstock. Oh dear. I was saying at the beginning that we were forecast a really wet, horrible weekend, but yesterday actually, I think it was probably very localised, but apart from a couple of small showers, we actually had a really nice weekend. Now these will actually pop out, so that will die cut. I think the stamped bit here, you could stamp that and then die cut that, and you'd get these sort of poppy out bits. That's quite fun. And you get these leaves that then get left with like these gaps, and again, if you wanted to, you could carefully hang on to the leaves out of the middle, and then this one to the bits out of the middle of the leaf, and then cover them in or cut them out of a different colour and mix and match. You could have two sorts of greens going on and having one leaf with a dark green outer and a light green inner, and vice versa. So lots of ways you could play with those dies. They are really pretty. Just scatter those bits in the general direction of my little bin. Hopefully most of them will go in. So there, we've had a little play with the dies. We know what they do. We can see what the stamps do. Let's make some cards. I'm in the process of tidying my craft room. I don't know about you, but when you're in the process of tidying, you always have sort of muddle build up around you before you can actually finish. The desk is getting quite tidy. I've got a basket full of scraps of paper waiting to be put away, but they're where my die cutting machine would normally be, so it just is a knock-on effect, isn't it? Never mind, we'll get there. So I'm going to take this stamp just here, I think, which is this one. We've got these big floral images, so we've got leaves and things that you can use to infill your colours. Actually, we'll go with the green for this base colour, I think. Let's go soft succulent, because that's some of the colours that are playing through the papers. So if we want to come in with the paper, we will be able to. It's quite a big stamp. Let's bring in our matte. Scrummy. So really sort of modern feel to these flowers. I'm going to do 2 lots. I may well use some of the paper somewhere. So let's have a look at what colours we've got in the paper. We've got Blushing Bride, Cinnamon Cider, Daffodil Delight, Garden Green, Highland Heather, Mint Macaron. That should have been the colour we went with, but I think we'll survive. Misty Moonlight, Pale Papaya, Pool Party, and Whisper White. Bit of Highland Heather. I think we're going to grab some Highland Heather. Pale Papaya. Let's have a bit of Blushing Bride. And I might bring in the Mint Macaron actually, because I think it will work quite nicely with that soft succulent background. Just bring another shade in. Right, let's have a look at our blobby flower bits. Now these aren't made to fit exactly. They are made to give sort of a watercolour type image. It will go Highland Heather for the large flower. Like that. Let's come in with some this medium sized flower. Got a bit of a green pop it back. And I think we'll do that in pale papaya. I think I have that one, and that's right, I'm looking at the sizes. I think I'm going to do that one as well with that stamp. So we've had mummy flower, daddy flower. Let's come in with baby flower. And baby block, and pick up some blushing bride here, and we'll do those with some blushing bride. Oh, I did have silly bee. See, that's what comes of not looking. There is a little stamp just there that would have done those. Monday morning, I'm not awake. We'll go with what we've got. I kept looking and thinking, bet there is something smaller there. Did see that one tucked down there. Let's take this slightly bigger leaf just here. I'm going to bring in the mint macaron. Just checking, there is just the 2 leaves. Quite like the way that the soft succulent is slightly darker in the background. Let's come in with baby leaf now. They're pretty. Let's put baby leaf back. Let's put our big stamp back. And then I'm going to die cut these. And wallet. Let's bring in a large outline die. Before we do that, I'm just interested to see what happens if you lay that over the top. Might be quite interesting in a sort of, particularly if it was in vellum. Or foil, perhaps. You could put a foil layer over the top. Okay, let's bring back up the machine. So much for having a tidy up. We're done with my... Oh, I put them back down there. No wonder I can't find them. I put them away. You're never going to find things if you do that with them, are you? Okay, let's swing that round and line that up. Remembering that you need to line it up with your original stamped image and not necessarily your infill colours, because they will automatically leave you some white space. Gorgeous, even though we used the wrong stamps. No mistakes, it was just a creative experiment. Right, move these back to one side. Hang on to that bit of paper, we might need it in a minute. So we have 2 flowers there. Now, take some of this paper. I'm going to cut myself a bit. I'll come down and cut a strip off that's 9.5 centimetres wide. I'll swing it round and make it 13.9 long. So this is your sort of second size mat on a piece of paper. To bring this bit in and cut it actually going to bring in a stitched rectangle. I'm going to turn it over and have my stitched rectangle on the spotty side. Run that through. that out. And turn that over. So although the stitching on this side is actually back to front, it's not going to make all that much difference, because then what I'm going to do is pop this bit back in with the spotty side upwards. So we've just used one piece of paper, we've got two patterns on there. I'm going to bring in a bit more Highland Heather, because the paper on the background doesn't actually contain any Highland Heather. But we are going to want it to. We've been hearing about your snow, Angie. Jane was telling us that it's been snowing. Yeah, that one. I'm going to die cut that one. Let's bring in my little machine for that. I'd already got that die cut stitched rectangle, but I think it's a little bit bigger than we want it. So let's not overly compromise. Let's bring in slightly smaller, elongated, sort of thin stitched rectangles, because in amongst the stitched rectangle set we have, oh sorry, the fat, and then these sort of thinner ones. Does anyone wash their chamois in the washing machine? Mine appears to be going mouldy. I haven't. I have heard other people have. I mean, certainly, you know, hand wash it with hand wash stuff. You could perhaps even try hand washing it and popping a bit of something like some steriliser solution or something in it, just to see if that helps. I'd say experiment, Jane. I mean, if you know the option is that you're going to say, oh no, I can't use this anymore, go for it. I'd just be very wary of what else was going in the washing machine at the same time. Don't put it in with your best white tablecloth. That probably was not a good idea. I love so if it's going to snow, Angie's saying that she used to love playing in the snow before when she lived in the UK before she moved to Australia. Yeah, I love playing in the snow, but I do feel that if it's going to snow, it needs to snow enough for you to be able to play in the snow. None of this sort of, you know, wishy-washy, not enough to do anything with, just enough to make everything. Oh, there you go, anti-back liquid. Top tip from Angie, she uses anti-back liquid to wash her chamois, like the stuff she uses to wash her hands, so like an anti-back soap. That's not a bad shout. Wouldn't be too harsh, would it? We're all going to dash off. Right, what have I done with me? Oh, I was going to say, I turn away for 5 minutes and everything's disappeared. Still disappeared. Lost my Highland Heather rectangle. No, that's the wide one. Oh, for goodness sake. That one's stuck to the bottom of my what is it about going live that you just look away? I'll carry on for a minute and see if it reappears, if I spot it. If not, we'll die cut another one. Very bizarre. Now then, is this a half piece? Yes. So that is 10.5 centimetres wide. Let's score it at 14.9. Okay. You have to come on a winter's holiday, but of course we can't guarantee snow. We don't necessarily get a lot of snow. I'm going to cut another Highland Heather one because I'm blowed if I know where it's gone. Got two wider ones. That's that one. We like that one, don't we? Just when we're looking around, trying to find a little bit of Highland Heather that's the right sort of size. Perfect. I'm going to sit it on top this time. Right, stay there, don't move. And what shall we have on there? It says anything is possible. And indeed it is. If you are determined enough. Thank you, Angie. My glue's all bunged up on the end. Has that cleared it? Yeah. let's have that there. Let's stick these bits in place. So let's stick our frame first. So that's quite a nice way of having two tones, particularly on these pretty papers where you've got the really floral images one side and a sort of pastel-y pattern on the other. It's just one piece of paper. Because we don't want to be wasting paper, do we? We've got other things we could be using it for, and of course using the stitch rectangles you then get stitching on both the frames and the inner piece. And although the one on the frame is actually back to front, as my dad would have said, a blind man would be glad to see it. I think I'm going to raise that up just slightly with some dimensionals. No, let's have it going this way so that the Highland Heather is at the top. And the leaves heading towards the corner. This one will go the other way. And it doesn't matter that they're going to overlap slightly in the middle, because we're going to have this one here coming across the middle. So I'm going to just put dimensional either end, and I think I'm going to pop a glue dot in the middle. That will then stick where it meets the flowers, because the flowers are already raised up on dimensionals. That will hopefully stick down either side. Should we try and make that straight, do you think? Or straighter anyway. Of course, now we've got lots of linen of baker's twine. It comes in an essentials pack with very vanilla, crumb cake, I'm completely blank. Mind zzz. So very vanilla, white, black, crumb cake, grey granite. Got there in the end. Brain left the building there for a moment. Happens a lot. Right. Done a double bow with that, so I folded my twine in half first to give me a bit of a double bow, but we'll have something in here. We'll bring in another glue dot. I think I could probably get rid of some of that. I'm going to be unravelling it forever till I actually get to the glue dots. Let's just scrunch that up a bit and stick that on. And then I think we need some of these genial gems. Let's have a little cluster of 3. So we'll obviously need to put a white insert inside that card. So we could go and fill in all our colours again, or just leave it as a simple outline. I'm going to do it as a simple outline to start for now, but obviously The best thing to do would be to do this while you've got all your colours out. Another envelope. And let's do the same to the flap on there. Put some glue on here and in here. And there we are. As I say, you can go back in and colour in those flowers on your envelope and on your insert if you want to, or just leave it a bit plainer. Just have the simple outline. So there's one. So we've had a bit of a play with those infill stamps. A quick slurp of water. And let's look at this other one just here. We'll perhaps stick with similar colours. I'm going to take a piece of this Highland heather paper. It's pretty. I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to cut a piece. I'm going to cut 6 centimetres by 14.4. Like changing your mind, I'm going to make that 5 centimetres. Try not lose my 1 centimetre strip that I've just cut off. I should no doubt use that for something else. I'm going to make that 5 centimetres. So that's 5 by 14.4. This piece of cardstock is actually 14.4. In amongst those dies, we have a scalloped edge. So I'm going to cut a scalloped edge on this piece of card. Oh, sorry, keep getting tangled up in the wire on my phone. Let's move that round there like that. And bring this across. So now we've got that really pretty sort of dotty scalloped edge just there. Pretty. Might want to trim that later, but for now that is good. And the other thing I'm going to do bit of white card. So many scraps, little tiny scraps of white card that aren't quite big enough for what I want. So let's. It's beautiful, isn't it? I'm going to cut this at 14.4. Thank you, Angie, for sharing. Always very grateful. I'm going to cut this at 6 for now. I'm not going to need it at 6, but that's a good place to start. And then I'm going to take this other stamp that we have. So we started off so well cleaning the stamps as we went along. And I'm going to dig about in my box of basic ink pads and find the memento. Let's bring in our sponge mat. And I'm just going to stamp that across the bottom here, trying not to overlap the images. Now let's bring in, I've got some Highland Heather. Bring in some mint macaron, and then we're going to want another colour. Might actually bring in the Daffodil Delight. That was one of the other colours mentioned in the morning, Hannah. I'm doing all right. How are you doing? I haven't coloured with my blends for ages, and I haven't got the new in colour ones yet. I just am, I'm a woman behind on everything. It will all come. Been very busy doing my garden. My garden, I may well have told you, was a complete disaster zone. It was a wilderness. So I've spent quite a lot of weekends trying to get it into some sort of shape, and I've had a very specific reason why I wanted to do that. We here in the UK, as of today, we've opened up, our lockdown has opened up slightly. We are, we've been able to meet into groups of up to 6 outside for a few weeks. We are now able to meet outside for groups of up to 30, and we're allowed to have sort of 2 households mixing together indoors. All very exciting, although we've got a new variant we're keeping an eye on, so we're having to do it all fairly hesitantly. But what that has meant, I've had my eye on this date for a little while, because I have 3 children. My son is still at home, his fiancée is with us at the moment, Em, which is very lovely. I have seen both of my daughters, not as much as I'd like. And yeah, and we can hug, that's the other thing, as long as we're careful. threatened my older daughter. I haven't had a hug with her since this whole thing started. I did threaten her that I've got a front door key, I was going to let myself in at midnight. I haven't traumatised her. My other option was I was going to go and be there before she went to work. She's 40 minutes away. I didn't do that either. But it is my husband and I, Mike and I's 35th wedding anniversary next Monday. And so when they announced that we could have up to 30 people in the garden, I said I want to get my garden sufficiently usable so that come next Sunday I could have all three of my children. It'll be the first time that I've had all three of my grandchildren together, because one of them was born during lockdown. So my mission has been to get my garden so that I can gather my family on Sunday. And really, the fact that it's our 35th wedding anniversary is almost just like that's a good excuse to get together. We don't normally make big celebrations of our anniversary, but I think it's more a celebration of getting family together. So I think I felt by the end of yesterday that if I got nothing else done in the garden, I would be able to gather my family together. It's just horrible, isn't it? We're just hoping that this new variant goes off the way it came. Leave us alone. Belated Mother. Well, it'd be very belated for us, Jane, obviously, because here in the UK our Mother's Day was back in March. So yeah. It's just funny, isn't it? Because I've seen all of the children, you know, not as much as I normally would, but just the idea for me anyway of having them all in one place at the same time is just huge. Yes, yeah, it is very different. So International Mother's Day was a week ago, but here in the UK we don't have, it's not actually officially Mother's Day, it is Mothering Sunday, and it is connected to Lent. So it depends when Easter falls as to when our Mothering Sunday is. It's never as late as May. It can vary sort of usually March sort of time. Always interesting when you're taking part in sort of international blog hops and things as a Stampin' Up demonstrator, because everybody else is saying, oh, let's do Mother's Day, and it's like, well, you know, you missed the boat. That was that was a month ago. Let's come in with some Daffodil Delight, so sort of coming around the edges with so here in the UK traditionally Mothering Sunday it's to do with, as I say, to do with Lent and to do with Mother Church somewhere along the line, but it was also traditionally the day that if girls were in service, or boys, that was the day they would be given the day off to go back and visit their mums. Let's come in with the light Daffodil Delight. Whereas I think the International Mother's Day was a little bit like Father's Day, developed by greetings card companies. Fascinating how these things build up, isn't it? Right, do with a little bit of something in the middle of those flowers, but I don't think I want it. Right, come here, Nancy. What about cinnamon cider? That was another of the colours that was suggested. Right. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to build this up so I have pretty paper, flowers and a scalloped bottom. All sounds good. Can't beat a scalloped bottom. Right, let's... No, I'm going to come this way, I think, because just slightly more sturdy. So I'm going to stick this on here to start with, so that scallop is popping out of the bottom. And then let's trim that. Now I think that is about 6 centimetres, which means we have 4.5 centimetres to play with up here. So what I'm going to do is trim it like that and then turn it round and trim it 4.5 on the bottom there. Like that. Need to do that. Just dropped all my ribbon on the floor. And we've got this Highland Heather ribbon here, so I think we'll perhaps bring some of that in as well. And we'll stick that together. So I'm going to take a bit of tear and tape and just lay it along that edge. Actually, I'll stick it on the back separately because I actually want this ribbon to overlap. So it's now stuck so that it's stuck above the card just there, which means when I stick it down it will stick over there. But because I haven't got hold that down there like that, and wrap that round and then hold that in place. Stay. Stay. And we'll put a bit in there for good measure so that that holds that all in place while we turn it round. Lovely. Right, let's stick that on. That Highland Heather ribbon's quite pretty. It's got a bit of a shimmer to it. And then we need a nice greeting on there. Let's going to come to the pansy patch because that's got a really pretty little happy birthday in there. Take one of our little weeny bits of card. Let's just trim that down. And stick that to a bit of Highland Heather. Put that on with some glue dots just because it's sticking on that ribbon. Or not. Stay. And then for that one, come in with some of these. I'm quite liking these. Silver and clear epoxy. Drops. Let's have a few of those. There we go. So that one's using our Stampin Blends to colour in. So a first play for me anyway with the hand penned suite. Really pretty. Oh, that one's upside down. So great for birthdays, for weddings and anniversaries. Actually, they'd be quite pretty for, wouldn't they? Get well. Really pretty little set. So I hope you've enjoyed that, the little play, and that you'll be back to visit a bit later in the week. Have a really good week. I hope it warms up for you wherever you are. We could do with it a little bit warmer here, and it sounds like you definitely could do with it a little bit warmer out in Australia. So have a good week, everybody, and we'll be back. See you soon.